All right, welcome back to another episode of Zero Downtime. How you doing today, Logan?
Doing well.
All right. Well, on today's show, we've got a couple of good items, and of course, in the last 24 hours, things have happened that I need to talk about as well. But we'll do that in due time. We're going to talk about Apple's Swift is now supporting Android. How the head of Claude Code codes. We're going to talk about this thing called LiteLLM and what happened last week. We're going to talk about Apple discontinuing the Mac Pro. And we're going to talk about RAM prices are crashing. I couldn't have predicted this happening. And I did take a look at the Infinite Campus dump that from the last episode, I promised I would come back and share what if I found anything. But first, the meme of the day. I don't know how I came across this. And it's not really a meme. And there is writing in this book, and it's a book that says how to talk to your cat about gun safety. This book could be ridiculous. It could be so political or something. I don't even know, but I just came across it, and we're looking at getting a new cat in our house, and so I had to send it to my kids.
Safety first.
Yeah, I just thought it was so funny. I just had to share. So, how was your week last week?
It was well. We had some nice days.
We did.
Got some golf in.
Yeah. You golfed.
I did.
Oh, I don't golf. Looking forward to the snow coming up, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm not really looking forward to it, but we'll see what comes.
Well, last week I got to be a guest on your show.
You did.
Yeah. We talked about this show.
It was really all about Zero Downtime.
Well, maybe I steal the show. It's
all right.
I sat pretty quiet, I felt.
The funny thing is, when you sit quietly, you look mad.
Well, that's because I am mad because I probably have a lot of thoughts.
You wanted to share
more. Went to Clue at the Washington Pavilion, the play.
And how was it?
It was good. It was funny. Yeah, no, so I was afraid. So I asked Kristen, I said, how long is this play going to be? And she says, probably 2.5 hours. And I was like, oh no, 2.5 hour long play. And so we're sitting down, and the lady who runs the pavilion or the plays, or I don't know what she does, but she's on stage and she's like reading off their Broadway for next year or whatever.
Yep.
Like all the different plays they're going to have. And the last thing she said was, this show will be played with no intermission. And I'm like, oh no, 2.5 hours, no intermission for 90 minutes. I'm like, yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't stand up and give a round of applause right then.
Well, that would have been awkward because I got a front row seat.
That would have been awkward.
Yeah. So we originally had like fourth floor seats because I wasn't going to spend like $200 or something for a floor seat, like not even in the front row, just down on the floor. We get up there. Kristen's looking through her phone to get the tickets.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the lady goes, is it just the two of you? And I looked at her. I go, well, yeah. She goes, how would you like to sit in the pit? I'm like, the pit? She's like, yeah, the pit. After I walked all the 4 stories.
Is there an elevator to get down?
So she gives us a little card that I could have printed on a printer. But anyways, so I'm like, oh, well, hopefully this isn't a scam. So we walked down to the pit. And he's like, oh yeah, they'll show you your seats. Like we could touch the stage. So it was fun to see the facial expressions of the actors and actresses.
Yep.
Because we wouldn't have seen that in the nosebleeds.
What a fun surprise.
Yeah, that was fun. And then of course I got to have a cigar at the cigar shop.
It's always a win for you.
In the East World Smoke Shop over there in Sioux Falls, which is connected to the place where you can have a cigar, is for sale. It's sad. Hope they find a buyer because that place has been around forever.
Hopefully, I don't know what you're going to do. You love going to Sioux Falls and going to that place.
Going to that cigar shop. And then I got jail beers after that. My favorite.
Your absolute favorite.
It was a pretty good day. It came up all John.
Oh, what? For those of you who don't know, that's John's life. You go do something for someone else, and it just so happens it turns out to be a John's day.
That's right. So I installed Claude Code last night.
Okay.
And I've been reading all the things, and I didn't think I had the right plan for it. So I have the pro plan. I didn't know that until today. I pay the $20 a month, and I didn't think that was enough to be a pro.
Oh, okay.
So that was enough to be a pro. And so I installed Claude Code last night, and I told it, build me an app that looks like or is similar to but different enough than WhatsApp. And I started watching videos on barbecue, and it was working in the background. And 10 minutes later, it spit out an amazing program.
Wow.
Yeah, and it worked. Wrote it in Flutter, did exactly what I told it to. And I only gave it I gave it 3 prompts. The initial prompt. So I go into the directory, I type Claude, and then the editor starts and it analyzes the whole project. And then it said, type what you want it to do. So then I gave it the whole, like the parameters. I need to be able to chat. I need to be able to talk. I want us to, end-to-end encryption is important, that kind of thing. And then I said, well, I also want to be able to dial the PSTN. That's different than WhatsApp. WhatsApp, you can only call other WhatsApp users. I want to be able to call regular phone numbers too.
Okay.
So it added that, and it looks awesome, and it's fast. It even thought of OTP for verifying the phone number.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then we'll talk about we'll talk about it now. So then this morning, I'm looking on X, and all the source code for Claude Code leaked.
Whoops.
So somebody basically, I don't understand TypeScript, but there's a map file. Anyways, they created this map file, and then all of a sudden, all of the source code was just in their GitHub repository, like public. I don't understand exactly how that worked, but yeah, it's all just sitting there. And in fact, I fed the source code into ChatGPT, and I'm like, tell me what this does.
Yeah.
And so it was basically like, it's everything except for the actual brains, which is still held at Anthropic.
Yep.
But I said, well, it's possible then that I could use Claude Code, but I could rewire it to use something like DeepSeek or some local LLM. And ChatGPT was like, well, yeah, sure, you could. So then you have your context window that's still 200K, but you don't have your daily limit.
Which is important.
Yeah. Well, when you're an awful coder like me. All right. So Apple, long time ago, created this programming language called Swift. So originally, Apple created Objective-C. Well, really, it wasn't Apple that created Objective-C. It was Next, Steve Jobs' company, that created Objective-C. And then when Apple bought Next, or Next bought Apple, depending on which
way you want to
look at it, to get Steve Jobs back to Apple, either Next bought Apple or Apple bought Next. It just depends on who you ask. They created this new language called Swift. So Swift compiles down into machine code, but it's easier to write and understand. It's got better memory management and stuff that Objective-C does not have. It originally was built for the iOS, Mac OS, and your watch. It was designed to replace Objective-C in the end. And like I said, it was known for safety, performance, near C level, which is the next step up is assembler. So it's very, very fast and clean syntax. It looks good. It's like writing Python, but it's Swift. And it later became open source. I actually didn't know that. I did not know that Swift became open source, but that's why.
Do you respect it a little more that it came open source?
Yeah, for sure. But part of what I enjoy about developing for phones and stuff is being able to write one code base and have it work on both sets of phones.
Yep.
And so that's where this sort of falls flat.
Okay.
So you can write your code in Swift. So you can write a library. Say you're building a calculator. You've got your UI stack, and then you've got the calculation code. So you have this library that's like, here's all the code to do the calculations, multiplication, division, subtraction, whatever. So I can build that in Swift and make a library, and then I can link that library into my Android code where I have to build the UI differently. Forgot my alarm was on. But it's cool because if you have a team that handles back-end code and front-end code, you can that back-end code team can write everything in Swift now instead of having to write it in Java for the Android platform or Swift for the iOS platform.
Okay.
So that's kind of the power in it. It doesn't replace Flutter. And like I said, Flutter is a right one. So made by Google.
And Flutter is like what you like to use.
Flutter is what I like to use. So Flutter syntax is very like JavaScript. It's not JavaScript. It's not like any of that, but it's similar. And so it makes sense in my head because I'm used to coding that stuff. But yeah, I thought that was cool, but it doesn't replace the UI, hot reloading, all of that kind of stuff. But it could help trim your team. So if you have a team that, like I said, that writes UI, you'd still have to have an Android team and an iOS team. But if you have a team that writes back-end code for Android and iOS, you could replace them with one team.
Just having one.
Yeah, one team. So Swift on Android doesn't kill Flutter. It's proof though that everyone's kind of chasing the same goal. Everybody's after the same thing where we want to write one piece of code and then ship it, right?
I mean, it makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to have to keep upkeeping two separate platforms?
Right. And the real fact of the matter is Flutter just simply does it better. So I got a video. Let's see if we can make this work. Here we go. This is the guy who wrote Claude Code. And I lost my sound. So we're just going to talk about it. So basically the guy that wrote Claude Code, he says that he can ship 10 to 20 PRs a day. He has 10 agents running for him. He has 10 agents running. Boy, we're all having all sorts.
We are having issues over here.
This is a technical issue kind of day. He has 10 agents running at all times to write code for him. He hasn't written code since November.
Wow.
That's shipping this Claude Code product.
That just got released to everyone.
Yeah. Now the source code, everybody has access to the source code now. So what everybody's going to say, AI is going to be replacing developers. What I think it does is it shifts developers up the stack a little. So you have in a team, you might have a junior dev and you might have a senior dev, right? So a junior dev would be the guy, he's the one doing the shit work, right? You start working as a junior dev, your job is finding bugs or getting a bug and then debugging it and fixing it. You're not adding new features. You're not doing the cool stuff that the senior devs are doing, right?
Yep.
You're writing some functions. You're doing very simple tasks, and then eventually you get to be a senior programmer where you get to do something cool. AI replaces that.
Yeah.
Right. So AI makes it so you don't have to basically you don't have to do those mundane tasks. You know what's better. So you know what to ask for as a senior dev. You still make the junior dev write the code, which is AI now, but you ask, like, you know what to ask for. You know what's wrong instantly. So you've seen the code, you know how it works. And then when AI breaks it, you'd be like, okay, I know exactly what's wrong. Here's how we're going to fix it. Whereas a junior dev may not know that AI. And you as a senior dev would normally guide the junior devs. And that's exactly what you're doing with AI. So it pushes people up the stack. So yeah, does it suck for junior devs? Probably a little bit, because but I also think that, like I said last week, living in the code every day, you're going to learn it anyways.
Yeah, just by working
just by sitting in the code, you're gonna learn it. So I think the other takeaway from the fact that this guy can ship 10 to 20 PRs a day, which is crazy, it sounds cool until you consider that it's a lot easier for bugs to slip through because it's hard to test everything.
I was going to say, you'd have so much going on at one time.
Yeah, right. So I think that, like what happened with the source code getting pushed up to GitHub, your security issues scale faster. So if you have a small security issue, it could quickly become a big security issue because it keeps getting built on.
Well, I mean, awesome that he was able to build all that out with AI. But then, yes, it just got all released as well.
Yep. But in the end, this validates what I said last week when we talked about schools teaching programming.
Yeah.
This really validates that and says we don't need to create a new, like, guys that know how to write in Flutter, Dart, whatever you want to call it, or C or C++. We need more like a programming theory class, understanding what arrays are. We're not teaching different types of arrays. We're just teaching what an array is. So when you're guiding AI, you know the right thing to do and let it do the heavy lifting of writing the code. You can do the debugging.
Yep.
That I don't understand why anyone would bring back a programming class when we have all of these tools that I paid $20 a month for Claude Code to write that awesome thing yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's I'm doubling down on that one.
I mean, it makes sense. And I just feel like a lot of people don't. If those institutions just aren't realizing it or just shouldn't be turning a blind eye to it.
Well, schools spend a lot of time and effort to block AI from students. And I, of course, think that's a wrong thing to do because it's not going anywhere.
Why not teach them how to properly use it
Right.
to their benefit?
I mean, I've said this before. I believe that human knowledge starts where it left off. So we don't have to know how to make a fire anymore. We can make a fire very simply. So we can move on from knowing how to make a fire to something else.
Yep.
Right? So we don't have to take the time to learn how to make a fire. We're not going to relearn that. So what's the purpose if we have AI that can do these things to relearn it? I don't understand. It's not going anywhere. And if there is an apocalypse where the robots take over, it's not going to matter anyways because the computer's not going to do what you want it to do anyways. Whether you write code in it or not, or you have it write code for you, it's going to tell you it's going to do whatever it wants.
Yep.
So I don't see the purpose in teaching like a full-length course in programming and leaving school with a programming degree. So LiteLLM got hacked, and it was pretty bad. And there's actually one more worse one that I'm going to tell you about.
Can you start with what is LiteLLM?
It's on there. First, what is LiteLLM? But what I was going to say is I'm going to tell you about this one, and then I'm going to tell you about one that just happened in the last 24 hours that's 1 billion times worse. Actually, I'll say 100 million times worse.
Okay.
All right. So LiteLLM is a Python module. And what it does is it's an adapter. So when you write code that works with AI, like ChatGPT, Claude, basically LiteLLM is an interface that allows you to talk to it. And then it can basically translate what you're saying to Anthropic, to ChatGPT, whatever. It gives you one single interface that allows you to interface with all of the unrelated AIs.
Okay.
So think of it like a module that sits in the middle. It's like a translator.
Okay.
It's like a translator. Oh, that's what I should have said. But it sits in one of the most sensitive places on your computer. It literally sits where the API keys live, right? So you've got your Anthropic API key, you got your ChatGPT API key, whatever, you got all the keys.
Yep.
So this thing was designed, so basically on March 24th, 2026, attackers broke into the LiteLLM release pipeline and they published malicious versions 1.82.7 and 1.82.8. You know what that tells me? 1.82.7 didn't exactly work like they wanted. So then they released 1.82.8.
At least they kept it in sequence.
And so when you install a Python package, you use a command called pip, P-I-P. And so when you ran pip install LiteLLM, that's all you had to do. The legit install command. And it ran a script, basically, that it stole everything, man. It stole all your API keys. If you had access to AWS or Google Cloud, it stole your SSH keys. It stole your ENV keys. It stole your Kubernetes secrets. And then, if that wasn't that wasn't the worst thing, it searched around your network for other Kubernetes instances and connected to those so it could steal those secrets. That's pretty bad.
I mean, are you giving them credit for thinking of all those things?
Well, of course, but I mean, it's a pretty bad thing. And this LiteLLM is used in tons of projects.
Have you used it before?
I believe I have, actually. I don't know that I've used it directly,
Okay.
but it's been included with projects that I've installed to connect to these providers.
Okay.
So not this version. I checked.
Well, that's good.
So it also installed a backdoor. And it dropped a persistent service. So you reboot, it'll start back up again. It could execute future. So then because of the backdoor, it could execute future payloads. I mean, this thing was bad. And all because they got one of the developers' logins and they could publish it. So that means you install it once and the Python process is compromised. This is over.
What is the fix for that?
Downgrading, but I'll tell you in just a second here. So this is what we call in the business a supply chain attack, right? So it's a supply of the code that you need for your software to run, right? So it's a supply chain attack. This is similar to SolarWinds. I don't know if you remember the SolarWinds compromise. That was probably a nation state actor. NPM compromises, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, that didn't make it in the show notes, but it just happened last night, so we have to talk about it because it's way worse than this one. BI or CI/CD poisoning, but worse because LiteLLM sits where it sits. It also stole your AI keys, cloud creds, and secrets. I mean, so security researchers basically said this: if you installed it, assume that all of your keys are compromised. So you need to rotate everything.
What do you mean by rotate?
Rotate meaning generate new SSH keys.
Okay.
Install the new public key on all of the servers. It's not a light task. So we can say it in a sentence, but it could take a month to get done.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, you should use a YubiKey for your SSH because then your private key lives on the key and can't be stolen.
Okay.
So use that or some other type of hardware key that helps fix the having to rotate your SSH keys.
So if you had that installed, this wouldn't have fully affected you.
Everything else would have been stolen, yeah.
Other than that.
But not your SSH key because it lives on the YubiKey and
Okay.
the private key can't be taken off the YubiKey. I think some security researchers basically took it apart, put it under some kind of microscope thing, and then was able to figure out what the private key was. But nobody's going to do that.
I can't wait to hear if people agree or disagree with that statement.
So the way that this happened was attackers compromised a tool called Trivy, which is like a security scanner, which is kind of ironic. It leaked the credentials from the CI/CD. Then those creds were used to publish the malicious versions of LiteLLM. That's
Okay.
it. That's it. So we've officially entered the world where installing a Python package can hand over the entire cloud infrastructure and you won't even know it happened. But what happened last night? So Axios, which is a huge library for NPM node, used in basically if you do an HTTP request inside of your JavaScript code, your node code, you use Axios. Over 100 million installs per week got compromised. Similar supply chain attack. They got the lead developer's email, changed it to a Proton email, released the bad packages. 100 million installs a week. I'll bet that hit some people.
I just feel like this is just going to continue happening.
Well, I think that, AI is making attacks like this easier. There's less heavy lifting, right? So you're going to get people that normally aren't that bad of actors.
I was going to say they didn't have so much of the knowledge to be able to full on do it themselves.
For example, we talked about last week, those guys that had my login to my Gmail for my crypto account, my old crypto account, right?
Yeah.
And while they were smart, I don't think they knew how to code, but you dump it into say like, hey, I have access to this guy's repository. Create me a fake library that I can upload to NPM. Because what it did was it imported this library called like crypto-js-plain or something like that. It created that and they submitted that and they let it cook for a while.
Okay.
And then they changed that code and then they uploaded the new Axios code. It only inserted the include into that in one line of the file. And when it installed, boom, that was it. But the thing is it did, like I said, it did a similar thing. It installed a rat, all that stuff. 100 million installs a week. But like I say, AI makes it easier, I think. I think it makes people that normally wouldn't do something like that more apt to do something like that. Because there's other AIs out there that will help you write evil code. Like ChatGPT won't let you write evil code, right? It won't let you write hacking tools.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some other ones out there with the guardrails off. So
It's just crazy.
no more Mac Pros. They're done. So the cheese grater.
Yeah. They did look like a cheese grater.
Or the garbage can. Remember the garbage can?
Yep.
Yeah. Or the big metal paperweight, dealing with two handles on the side. Yeah. Apple was, honestly built on non-fixable machines. So the Mac Pro has always been kind of one of those redheaded stepchild type things.
Okay.
Like it existed, but nobody wanted it. I don't actually mean that in real life, by the way. It's just a way to say it. Sometimes I say things and I realize after I say them,
I'm glad it processed through
they're,
for you.
they're probably not polite. So any redheaded stepchildren out there, I apologize for what I said. Steve Jobs thought that computers shouldn't be endlessly repairable or customizable. They should basically be appliances and they should just work. That was kind of his mantra, the way he thought of things. In fact, the original iMacs or whatever Macintosh computers needed a special screwdriver to take apart.
Okay.
Because Steve Jobs was rabidly obsessed with making sure that normal people couldn't work on the internals of the machines.
I mean, I can see it here and there. Nowadays, I don't feel like you could get by with it unless they were super cheap.
Right. So the last update to the Mac Pro was in 2023, and it ran the M2 Ultra chip. So it's 6 years old, right?
Yep.
Or sorry, 3. Bad at math.
As I say, yep.
So, and we're up to the M5 now, right? So we feel, or the people the articles I read about this basically all say the same thing, that Apple's pretty much just written off the Mac Pro. And why, right? So part of the whole swappable stuff, the Mac Pro was always known for that. You could put in your own GPUs, or at least supported GPUs. But the way Apple's building computers now with, like, say, the Studio,
Yep.
You can build a pretty powerful machine, but there's nothing replaceable on it. And for example, the RAM is called unified RAM. So you can use it for both the system and the GPU at the same time. So you have 64 gigs of RAM. You could use you could use a bunch for the GPU and a little bit for the OS, whatever.
The more you know.
Yeah.
I always wondered what that word meant.
Unified?
Yeah.
Oh, well, now you know. The other thing about the MacBook or the Mac Pro, super expensive. Even on eBay right now, they still fetch $10,000.
Is that just because of how much they would have cost when they bought it?
$50,000. You could spec one up to $50,000. That's crazy. I did this weekend finally get my hands on a MacBook Neo.
Now, were you just in a store that had it?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we were in Sioux Falls, right? For the Clue thing, and we were a little early. And so I needed to go to Shields. And I thought, well, Kristen was maybe interested in getting a MacBook Neo.
Yeah.
Hers isn't even an M1. Maybe it is an M1. I think it is the M1, like the first generation MacBook Air.
Okay.
And so she's thinking maybe time to replace. And she thought maybe the MacBook Neo would be okay. She already only has 8 gigs of RAM. She obviously has the M1, so I don't know if that's faster or slower. But I was more interested in trying the trackpad out than anything.
Okay.
Because the way Apple redesigned the trackpad, it's mechanical. Like the one in your laptop isn't mechanical.
Okay.
They make it feel mechanical, but it's actually not mechanical. And I was curious how the right click worked. And I'll tell you what, it was pretty fabulous. It worked great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did she get one?
No.
Okay.
No, we were just like, so she was looking at the $599 one, which is the one with the smaller drive and no fingerprint sensor.
Yeah.
Because it's just for home use. And I'm like, well, buy it under one of the kids' school accounts because that's $499. We could save $100. But then they had the new MacBook Pro M5s.
Okay.
Did you know they come in colors?
No.
Black.
Is the only color?
And the color you have, like it's like midnight black.
Okay.
And it looks pretty sweet.
Are you gonna switch?
No, but it looks sweet. I'll tell you, it looked cool. I actually watched the video last night, Action Retro on YouTube.
Okay.
I like his content because he does stuff with old computers. Retro makes sense. Anyways, he figured out this thing. He had a MacBook Pro M1, but it was the Pro version. And he went to Apple Online, to the store or whatever, to see how much he could get for his computer. And he realized he could get the new M5 for free.
Because of the computer he had?
Yeah.
Wow.
And not only that, there was enough left to cover a MacBook Neo. So I'm like, I better look to see what Kristen's computer's worth. Nowhere close, $200.
Why was his computer worth so much?
I don't know. I'm sure it was fully spec'd out when he bought it.
Okay.
So I'm sure those are still worth. I think it was an M2 actually. I think those things are, he probably has a really spec'd out one, so that helps buy the M5. But he did some tests on his M2 versus the M5 on encoding video, and the M2 beat it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And it turned out maybe it had something to do with he was running a different version of whatever the video editing software was on the M5 versus the M2.
Okay.
So maybe that's the reason, but it was a minute difference for the same video.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, no more Mac Pro. They're replacing it with the Mac Studio. MacBook Neo, I'm still a supporter.
Yeah.
After I get my hands on it.
I was like, I want you to get your hands on it. I want to see it.
All right. So did AI just make RAM cheaper? So something happened last week. RAM prices fell. So like Micro Center and all them started dropping prices on RAM. But why? Well, Google, this is my one thought, and then I have another thought after this one that actually came up this morning that I can explain. Google came out with something called TurboQuant. So TurboQuant, what it's able to do is take what you would normally load into RAM, but compress it by a lot, by 6 times. So it needs way less RAM than what normally what an LLM would take.
Okay.
So, scale that. That's a lot of RAM. So the market reacted to that, and the prices fell pretty dramatically. So that's one thing, and I'm kind of skipping around in my notes here. There's another one I have. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Sam Altman, who is the head of OpenAI, ChatGPT, flew to Korea or China, one of the two, months ago, and signed a deal with both Micron and Hynix. I don't know how to say the name. Some name that's not English. It's been translated to English that's not English.
Okay.
For basically 40% of their supply, each of them.
Wow.
For their wafers. So, and so he did that, but both of those companies had no idea that he was signing an intent. So it wasn't a contract; it was an intent. So if I said contract, I meant intent.
Okay.
So it's like I intend to buy.
Yep.
It's not binding.
Yep.
Okay. So he signed it with each company, and it's turning out that they just canceled a huge data center where they were going to use all this RAM.
That Sam did?
Yes. OpenAI
OpenAI.
canceled this huge data center they were going to build now. And so basically those contracts or those intents aren't worth the paper they're written on. and what's crazy is Micron shut down Crucial, which was their consumer memory brand.
Yeah.
Now I don't think it's been gone long enough that they couldn't turn it back up.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you they do.
Well, obviously we were talking about how that was going to affect pricing of just computers in general all the way through. So it'll be interesting if they hold steady.
If RAM drops, is that going to mean that hard drives drop too? Will follow, right? They're different kinds of chips, but if they don't need all the RAM, they might not need all the hard drives either.
Yeah.
So, that's one idea behind the whole thing. The other is that okay? So Google releases TurboQuant, and it shrinks it down so it's small. But what does that mean? It means that we can expand AI, make it bigger.
Yep.
So eventually, what you've shrunk will grow because you're going to fit more into the same space. So eventually you're going to need more RAM anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, over time.
Yeah, it's how things scale. It's how things scale. Let's see. Oh, Infinite Campus Dump. So I downloaded it. I went to the Shiny Hunter site, downloaded it 1.2 gigabytes compressed. I don't know how big it was uncompressed. It was interesting because it had two sides to the dump. It had, you extracted the 7-zip, and then there was one side that was all of the files zipped, and another side where the files were not zipped. So I think it was just something to make it look bigger.
Oh, okay.
And so I went and looked for a few of school districts around here, and I found them. I found all the people, not all the staff, but some of the staff, probably staff that interacts with Infinite Campus support.
Okay.
I could read all the support tickets back and forth. So anything that the person on the school side said, anything the person on Infinite Campus side said, I could read all those. I could see that there was no names of schools. What every school had was a school GUID, which is just like a UUID, right?
Yep.
And I could take that UUID and compare it across all different things. And so I could see like school demographics of that particular UUID. So I could see the amount of free and reduced lunch, all of that.
Okay.
But all the data in it would have been like anonymized. So like I wouldn't have gotten you first off. Well, you would know what school it is because you can see the domain and the user's email
I was
address,
just
right?
going to ask you, how did you figure that out?
Yeah, so you could see the domain of the user, and then that user would have because it was a database dump, right?
Yeah.
So you could see the UUID or the school ID, and then I could search all of the other files for that ID, and then I could build data based on that. But there was nothing that I saw that was student specific. There was some passwords sent back and forth in the tech chat or whatever, the support.
Yeah.
There was some passwords, but I mean, they seemed like they were auto-generated passwords. So like, oh, I reset that password, it's set to this. And then when you log in the first time, it'll make you change it.
Yep.
So probably all those passwords were changed anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I spent maybe an hour on it. I didn't spend like a lifetime or anything like that. I wanted to see if I could find the people that I knew, and most of them I did. But I didn't find any student data. Like I looked for my kids, I looked for all that, and I didn't find any of that stuff.
Well, that's good.
That is good. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a bad thing.
Yeah,
So.
I was like, you wouldn't want to find them anyway.
Oh, and one other thing that came up in the last 24 hours that I was just thinking of, Google, we were talking, was it last week? No, 2 weeks ago, about Bitcoin and the new quantum computers.
Yes.
Okay. So Google just released a paper proving that they could break the encryption in hours.
So you don't even need the quantum computer?
No, Google has a quantum computer.
Oh, okay.
So Google has decided to push back the release of their quantum computer until 2029 to give people time to respond. Basically, it makes 2048 RSA encryption not worth it. Like cracks in seconds. And they released a proof of work. Basically, they didn't release how they did it.
Yep.
Because that would be bad. But supposedly they have the technology where they can turn the public key and then get the private key from that and see everybody's coins and all that. So in hours, not lifetimes. That happened in the last 24 hours too.
That's crazy.
This is just a doom and gloom episode.
It really is.
I'll work better to do something happy. We'll talk cell phones or something next time. Jeez. I feel bad.
AI is just going to ruin all of us.
Well, I mean, I think we are coming up on the Terminator date on Terminator 2 when the AI takes over. I don't remember the exact date
it was.
But yeah, the robots take over. But I was thinking the other day, why don't we all just carry around a bucket of water?
There you go.
Yeah, just throw it on the robots when they come attack you.
You're ready.
I'm ready. Did you see that one I put on Facebook the other day? So somebody put in Google, the pool on the Titanic is still full. And then Google said, well, no, it's not full because the pool still has cracks and everything else in it, so it couldn't hold water.
I did see that. And I also saw the post you put on A&P.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. So, yeah, I put it was a van. Normally the joke is you'd write free candy to get kids to get in the van.
Yes.
So this one said free RAM and GPUs. And I put something like the guys at A&P are in trouble. I don't normally post on the A&P page. I'm very careful.
I would like to let you know that 2 people reached out to me thinking that our Facebook page was hacked. And I had to respond, that's just John.
Oh, I love it so much.
So my question for you, as we're kind of talking about different machines, well, we talked about pricing of machines, but how often should businesses be replacing their PCs?
Do you think they said that because...
I love that you can't get that up.
Because the post was so strange, or because I said the guys are in trouble?
I think it's because you said the guys were in trouble. Stating that A&P is in trouble. Not so much getting the joke of
Why there's free RAM and GPUs?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, the joke went over their heads, and they
were in trouble because they want the free RAM and GPUs.
They knew I wouldn't have posted that, so they assumed that we were hacked, and I had to go in to make sure that we weren't hacked. And then I saw it was posted by John Hass, and I thought, all right, this makes sense.
All right. So when do they replace their computers? That's
like how often?
Yeah. Okay. So with A&P, we never know what we're going to see when we walk into a business. We've seen DOS still running. We've seen Windows XP, Windows 3.1, Windows 95, the whole gamut of operating systems. You never know what you're going to find because, a lot of times the people are like, my accounting software works just fine on this and I'm not going to change it. And in that instance, you can hear the hard drive going tick, 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 tick. Like, you're on borrowed time on this, buddy. In which case, we'll if they still have to run Windows 95, we'll find a better way for them to do that because maybe they run a paint shaker, right? And the paint shakers company went out of business. And so the last version of this software is Windows 95. It does not work on 98. It doesn't work on anything but Windows 95.
Yeah.
We'll find a way to make it work, right? Of course. This is the way that happens. Their lifeblood of the business is the paint shaker.
Yep.
We're going to make sure it works. But generally speaking, on a business class machine that you're going to use internet on, because like that paint shaker machine won't be connected to the internet.
Okay.
Like, can I access that from my network? No, you cannot.
You can go to that machine.
You must walk up to the terminal and turn the screen on and use it right there. There's no updates. What do you need internet for? Anyways, so a normal business class machine that's going to be surfing the internet and all of that, I would generally say we wouldn't keep it longer than 5 years. And the reason I say that is because the different vendors that we buy computers from sell warranties in 1, 3, and 5 year segments. So I generally don't tell people don't run a computer outside of the warranty period.
Okay.
Right. The other thing I would tell people, so say you've got an office and you have 20 computers, right? So it's a lot of computers.
Yes.
And say the business started all on the same day and you had 20 computers on day one, I would figure out a replacement schedule, because nothing's worse than every 5 years having to drop the cash for 20 computers. So we would work with you to figure out a replacement schedule. So normally what that would look like is the bosses get a new computer every 3 years or something. Those computers trickle down to the staff.
Yep.
And, they get reformatted, whatever. And then they use those computers for 2 years or 3 years, maybe they go 1 year over the warranty, right?
Yep.
Bosses get new computers. The other ones trickle back down. So we can limit the amount of computers that we're buying all at once. And then we also would do something like, pick batches of computers. So accounting gets new computers this year. Engineering gets computers next year. Something where it just doesn't hit the bottom line so bad.
Yeah, it's something that you can help budget is the biggest thing. It seems like a lot of our customers are looking for, knowing that over time they can't use the same machine always, to just figure out a good budget.
And we have customers who are diehards. Like you can have my computer when you tear it out of my cold dead fingers, right?
Yep.
And you explain to them, you can't have this. I know it runs your accounting software well, but you cannot be on the internet with this computer. I mean, you're going to get in trouble. And is it worth it to have the old computer so they can steal your banking stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, that's another one I was going to tell you about.
You go.
Okay. HSBC India. So the bank.
Yep.
They sent out a letter to everybody that said, if you used to use lowercase letters in your password, you have to now use uppercase letters.
Only?
Yeah. So if your password was all lowercase, test 1, 2, 3, you have to be all capital letters, test 1, 2, 3.
May I ask what the difference is?
Well, okay. So there's some theories on this. So passwords in a database are stored hashed. You know what that means, right?
No.
A hash password is a representation of the password you typed.
Okay.
So you would take the test and then you would convert that into a hash. A hash would be 32 characters long. And no matter what, when you type the password the same way, upper, lower, upper, lower, numbers, letters, whatever, the hash always comes out the same.
When it hashes, does it represent this? So like, let's say it's a T. Is there a certain hash just for a T, or the hash is random?
The hash is different for the entire password.
But anyone who uses letter T won't have the same.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be different because it's based on the entire password.
Okay.
So you can see where I'm going with this. And,
Yes.
an uppercase T and a lowercase t have a different hash. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you would think so.
Of course they would. So why would the bank have come out and said, your passwords are now all in uppercase? Two schools of thought on this. Any ideas?
I would choose a different bank, but you go.
So the first school of thought is that all the passwords are being stored in the database plain text. Now, the one less controversial, which I am always never in favor of, reason is that the old bank, when you logged in or when you created the account or whatever, converted all the characters to uppercase.
Oh, like it pre-did it?
Yeah. And so what they did was they got rid of that code. And so now you can use in the bank upper and lowercase letters.
But they're telling you not to?
Well, because any old password would have been created forcing all the characters to uppercase before they hashed it.
Either way, sounds ridiculous. Why wouldn't you just tell people that we switched what your requirements are for your password and make them set a new one?
So that's a good point, right? Why push this right now? Why is it like we're just going to tell everybody their password's now in uppercase, right? Why do that now? And why not switch it, and then when they log in the next time, or even don't switch it, and when they log in the next time,
They have to reset it.
they have to reset it.
I sometimes don't think people think before they send out messages.
You know this though. I'm pretty sure the banking system is built on really shitty Excel documents. I'm convinced. Like you could never tell me like, oh no, the banking system in this country is rock solid. That was in India, by the way.
Yeah.
But you could never convince me that it's not run on really shittily wrote Excel documents. I know you can't say anything about that. So anything else from me today, Logan? Because that's all I got.
That is all I have.
All right,
John.
we'll talk to you next time.